How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Crypto Clout. I'm your host, FaZe Crypto. Today is May 19th, 2019, and it's pretty interesting to see how there's been sort of a narrative shift in the world of cryptocurrency, and I think that it's sort of turned towards crypto's favor. I mean, we just look at this Forbes article, Bitcoin suddenly roars back, and I think that there is a general sentiment at that $8,000 level, sort of a psychological thing that happens. Now, in accordance with the way that the public psychology sort of operates, you sort of have to factor in a lot of these things. But as Bitcoin sort of approaches that $8,000 level, it is something to be said, and it's interesting to see with Bitcoin dominance has been sort of around that 57% level for quite some time. Of course, market cap at $247,575 at the time making this video. But the thing that I think that we really need to talk about is Cardano. They've really been doing some extra stuff, these partnerships and all these different things that have been announced. It's definitely interesting to see how Cardano, of course, different things, we're going to be discussing, including what's happening, with Cardano in Mongolia. And of course, it's interesting to see. I mean, this article goes on to talk about the science-based cryptocurrencies can be promising and long-lasting. Cardano is one such cryptocurrency which has made it to the top 10 ranking in no time due to its strong scientific background and research philosophy that currency is fast, secure, and can be used to solve the real-world problems. Cardano team has recently signed an agreement now with the Mongolian government. And of course, I mean, this is pretty interesting to see now just what Cardano is actually doing in the real world. It's sort of like looking into the future, sort of like Back to the Future, Marty McFly moment here. Just seeing how Cardano has been, really showing, flexing its muscles in a big way, which I think is definitely, in alignment with what we expect to see from cryptocurrencies in 2019. And, we've got Bitcoin doing its thing and sort of making that rounds, across social media and all these different places. And, it's just interesting to see the general sentiment that, and especially if you just consider the track record over the past couple of weeks, even just looking at the top 100 cryptos by themselves, it's pretty remarkable the comeback that's been able to happen. And I think that anybody who's worth their salt in the cryptocurrency space is at least capable of seeing the potential in these gains. And I think that it's certainly infecting other areas of the people who still look at the cryptocurrency space and sort of get it confused with that stock market mentality. I think is what's next is people are going to actually be able to catch on to, thinking about cryptocurrency in terms of the way that these things are able to actually operate. And I think that, Cardano is definitely a leading contender when we look at what's happening involving this technology. I mean, we look at what's happening involving smart contracts. One thing that I'm really looking forward to, Shelly, essentially all the different key points in the Cardano roadmap, which I think are things that are really going 2019 crypto returns, Cardano 74%. It's interesting, Binance Coin 300%. So I mean, just in 2019 alone, it is definitely interesting to see just the numbers and how a lot of these different things have been playing off. And when I speak to my friends about these different things, and I've had a lot of interesting conversations regarding the cryptocurrency space over the past week. I've been actually doing some interviews with some really interesting people, and I hope that we'll be actually able to share some of these really important interviews that I've been doing, and I'm sure that this will be really big for the channel, being able to get a voice from inside the cryptocurrency space, which I think is something that definitely does go a long way. So I am especially excited just for something like Cardano, and how we've been able to see, the different things that have been happening, in just such a short amount of time. And now we need to definitely talk about, this polymath, which is Cardano founder partners with Polymath to build a compliant securities blockchain. Polymath, the leading security token platform, has announced today at Consensus 2019 that they will be building Polymath, the world's first security token blockchain. Charles Hoskinson, co-founder of Ethereum and founder of Cardano, will collaborate with Polymath, taking on the title of Polymath's co-architect. Until now, Polymath has built its technology solution for security tokens on Ethereum. While there have been over 120 security tokens created using the Polymath Token Studio, adoption of security tokens has been minimal. Polymath believes this is due to compliance issues. So now, of course, this article is from May 13th. 11 a.m. So it is a little aged, but I think that it's clear. It is definitely interesting just to see how these things have been coming from all different directions. And of course, like we were talking about earlier in the video, like the Forbes list and all these different things that have been happening. We definitely have, to expect every bump in the road. It's still not going to be easy, but I think, this article is pretty interesting too. Flash crash denied BTC at 9,600 could be in the cards, says and I don't think that's very far-fetched to even say, especially when you consider the return and all the different things that I think are very impressive in the space that crypto has actually been able to prove for itself. Crypto trader and investor Josh Rager adds that the recent spike of the crypto market brings Bitcoin closer to 8,216, which according to Rager is a key short-term. Rager believes that if Bitcoin manages to close this weekly candle above the level of move to 9,600 could be in the cards. And I think that it's interesting that we're talking about these numbers when only a few months ago we were talking about like the 3,000. So for anybody who's able to basically get this long term, even just planning these things out with any amount of strategy whatsoever, it's not hard to make money in the cryptocurrency space. And I'm sure that there's plenty of people out there who are celebrating every gain and every bump in the road, just because if you know how to ride it, then it's kind of fun. But Game of Thrones ignites barrage of Bitcoin bets on who will take the Iron Throne. This is a barrage of Bitcoin. I don't think anybody gives a shit about Game of Thrones. I think what was it, a million people signed that the petition to redo the last season because they were so disappointed with Game of Thrones. I mean, personally, I never really liked the show. I think I watched like the first season of it, but I'm not a big fan of Game of Thrones. I really could care less about it. I kind of saw it for what it was from the beginning, and I think a lot of people are sort of coming around. But who cares? WhatsApp users can now send BTC, LTC to each other. This is pretty big. I mean, all these seemingly little things are ever more creeping cryptocurrency into the lives of people who otherwise would probably not even be using these things. A newly released bot from crypto messenger service Light.im will be a big step forward for crypto adoption. The software will enable WhatsApp users to send and receive Bitcoin and LTC to each other within the app. The popular mobile messenger platform WhatsApp is owned by Facebook, and there has been rumors of social media giant releasing its own crypto alongside a new payment service that would ignite. So I mean, it's interesting to see all the the integration happening in real time, and especially how social media giants have sort of jumped in on board with the crypto space slowly but surely. Mass adoption of Ripple XRPs by mainstream banks is certain. Wow, this is really interesting. I remember looking at this one earlier, today's Gazette. A lot of you were sending me this. The bold headline right here: Ripple XRP is well known means of payment adoption and recognized by a vast number of prominent banks and institutions in the world, despite the support challenges. Ripple's board remains resolute that its mass adoption by mainstream banks is inevitable. So it's definitely interesting to see these sort of headlines. I mean, it's they were comparatively. I mean, you think back to like 2017, people would have jumped out of their seats with that sort of headline in the past, but it just goes to show you, I think right now the space is more turning towards looking at the technologies, and I think that's really where Cardano is going to have the ability to shine. But all that being said, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Of course, remember this video is for entertainment, educational purposes only. It's not financial advice. Obviously I'm not your dad, but if you guys are interested in connecting with us, you could do so on Twitter. That's at CryptoTuber on Twitter, and I'm always interested in hearing what you guys have to say. But yeah, I am pretty bullish on the future of Cardano and everything we can expect to see from it as things continue to move forward. Let us know in the comments what you guys think. I think this has been a pretty good video. We've been able to talk about the future of these things in a broader sense. All that being said, I hope you guys have had a good day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good one.